Welcome, my friends, to this Saturday night edition of the Indoctrination. I am David Snedeker, and wow, what a week, my friends, as we wrap up an historic week. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you this evening. I came on a bit later because I had some things going on, but wanted to make sure that I got a show in this weekend with you because of so much going on. I hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving, whether you were with many, with one, with none, with some four-leggeds, whoever it was. I hope you found some gratitude in your heart for our life, our, you know, world that we're living in right now, um, with so many bad things, with the National Guard shooting, with this young woman losing her life. Um, it's um, it's difficult with all the things, the terrorist threats and so forth. It's difficult to find the silver lining amidst these clouds, and yet there are so many. If we simply, look in the right direction, if we look at the right things, and if we have the right foundation for those things. So let me just put your comments here in the on the screen. Welcome, one and all. Glad that you had some good time off. Thank you, Moonbeam, and thank you, Quasi Pete, for being here, and in gratitude for all of your devotion to this community. And for those of you who have donated or donate or would like to donate, thank you for your support of this Truthcast. I'm looking forward to quite a lovely evening with you. Polar Bear Paws Seasons, greetings, Dave and Sneds. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. What a wonderful life. Daddy Trump has been busy. And by the way, it happens to be Polar Bear Paws birthday. So happy birthday, Polar Bear Paws. Happy birthday, Polar Bear Paws. Happy birthday, dear Dot. Dorothy, happy birthday to you. And what a week for your birthday that we have had. Happy birthday, my dear. Thank you for all the love you send my way, the prayers, the vibes, you bring to the chat. Much love to you. Much love to you. And it's been great getting to know you a bit. So Kathy, no, I will not be on tomorrow. So I will be back on Monday. Yeah. So, yeah, what a week indeed, big man. I get what you're saying, even though you're all thumbs over there. Thanks, Kev. Happy birthday, Polar Bear Paws. Awesome. Let's see. And no, you're right on time. It's all good. I started an hour late tonight, so I wanted to just also have kind of a later Saturday night together. And by the way, Kathy, happy birthday to you. And what do you say you remind me at the end of the show, and I'll do a birthday message for you because it'll be closer. So let's see. Kevin's letter, Dave, your thoughts on CME having technical issues yesterday. No coincidences. They can't suppress silver any longer. Listen, I think that we have a huge financial reset coming, and 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 I've kind of got some confirmation of that, and I just see it as inevitable, and I have for quite some time. Just we didn't know the time. Phil, thank you, my friend. Please give some thanks. Yeah, tip your waiter, folks. You'd never leave the table without tipping somebody that just brought over a plate of food for you. And I am delivering up some very healthy, nutritious morsels. And I ask for your support in doing so. And we'll get your name on the wheel for the next spin, which I look forward to doing sooner than later. Maybe Monday night if we can get enough in. If somebody is going to donate, please put up a match, or a challenge. Everybody, pitch in $17 or $10 or what have you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so we are, wow, quite a lot going on. Like what do we talk about? Well, let me get to the chat because you guys already have some questions coming in. Let's see. Okay, what do you think about Candace speaking about a big terrorist attack in 6 weeks? Okay. So we're expecting a scare event, and I don't believe we've had it. We just saw this man in Texas who threatened a terror attack. We have what happened in DC. We have this CIA. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take you to something right now. Let me just take this down so that we can get back to this. I want to take you to this right now. And this is what I talked about. Like when this first came out, if you remember the video of the seditious six, right? And what I told you was that this was, orchestrated, strategized, written, videoed, edited professionally, professionally lit. Okay. And that we needed to find out who was behind all of this, right? Because it's not, it wasn't organic. Okay. And I want to share this gentleman, Silver Girl shared this with me. And I've listened to this guy before, and I like him. His name is Ron Yates. Here we go. Just a little portion of his talk.
Same individuals were hearing lawmakers tell them to defy their superiors. Analysts warned this wasn't political rhetoric anymore. It was fuel poured directly onto smoldering embers. Then came the leak that shifted everything. An FBI insider revealed that investigators believe the disobey video, it wasn't simply reckless, it was strategic. The working theory inside the Bureau is that the video was designed to lay the groundwork for a 2026 impeachment attempt, mirroring the first Trump impeachment that relied on intelligence community whistleblowers. Now, the plan, according to the leak, was to reframe President Trump as issuing illegal orders and then activate insiders to blow the whistle once the narrative had taken hold. As one agent reportedly said, history doesn't repeat unless someone forces it to. Now, once that leak surfaced, the FBI shifted its focus to the communications behind the video. Agents began seeking emails, encrypted messages, and internal memos between the 6 lawmakers and former intelligence officials.
Here's what nobody's telling you about the new bearskin hoodie. This fleece is thick. It's made from 340 GSM.
Congressional staffers connected to strategic influence organizations suddenly appeared on investigators' radar. The timing of draft scripts, revisions, and shared talking points became critical evidence. The key question wasn't simply who recorded the video, it was who coordinated it. And as names quietly appeared in subpoenas, a picture began to form. This wasn't 6 individuals acting alone. This was a messaging chain, planned, refined, and executed. But the most dangerous discovery came when investigators followed the money. Media production experts estimated the disobey video cost tens of thousands of dollars. Now, this is far beyond what 6 lawmakers would casually fund on their own. So the question became, who paid for it? Financial analysts began tracing transactions from nonprofits, advocacy groups, and political organizations with histories of funding influence operations. Early leads pointed to intermediaries known for obscuring donor identities. Then, suddenly, this was no longer about messaging or politics. It was about money. It was about intent and potentially foreign influenced funnels. This is where the operation stopped being a theory and it became a crime scene. And so once the funding questions hit Washington, the entire operation began to implode from within. Lawmakers involved in the video, they started distancing themselves, claiming that they were misinterpreted, poorly advised, or caught off guard. Progressive commentators split into civil war, some defending the video, others condemning it as reckless. And inside the Democratic Party, the DNC quietly ordered staff to stop discussing the issue altogether. It was the political equivalent of pulling the fire alarm. Everyone was pointing fingers. Everyone was panicking because now it wasn't about opinions. It was about subpoenas, investigators, and who would be thrown under the bus first. And so as investigators pieced together the timeline, a chilling bigger picture emerged. This wasn't just a rogue video. It was a scripted, coordinated attempt to destabilize the country from within. Analysts concluded that the plan aimed.
The body scanner reveals the brutal truth about your body that your regular scale will never tell you. For weeks,
to undermine confidence in military leadership, encourage leaks inside intelligence agencies, pre-frame President Trump as issuing illegal orders, and then ultimately justify a new impeachment push in 2026. In other words, the video wasn't warning America about a crisis, it was creating one. And so as one senior intel put it, the goal was never to protect democracy. The goal was to pre-write a constitutional emergency and then blame Trump for it. But the architects of this operation made one fatal miscalculation. This ain't 2019. This is President Trump's second administration, and he is no longer fighting from the outside. The Trump 2.0 White House sent a very clear message, a very clear signal. There will be no immunity for lawmakers who undermine the chain of command, no tolerance for foreign-funded influence messaging, and no pass for anyone encouraging insurrection inside the military. That message right there sent shockwaves across Washington, and then all of a sudden staffers were lawyering up. Consultants were scrubbing their inboxes, and everyone involved realized the same terrifying truth. The line had been drawn and they just crossed it. And then came the final breakdown. This is the moment that investigators found the missing piece that kind of brought the entire operation down. Digital forensics uncovered matching IP addresses between the video's production team and a former intelligence contractor that was previously tied to psychological influence projects overseas. Financial traces linked to the same individuals. And the language that was used in the script matched patterns from previous destabilization campaigns attributed to the exact same network. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a blueprint. The lawmakers weren't the architects. They were just the mouthpieces. The real mastermind was someone who knew exactly how to weaponize messaging and hide in the shadows until now. And so this brings us to tonight. This is the moment that the entire operation collapses in full view of the American people. The Pentagon's recall threat, the FBI probe, the funding investigation, the mastermind identified, it all points to one undeniable truth. This was bigger, it was deeper, and it was more coordinated than anyone first imagined. But now that the handlers, the financiers, and the script writers have been exposed, accountability is no longer optional. It's inevitable. And as President Trump's administration prepares to move forward, the only question left is this: who else knew? Who else helped? And who else is about to get unmasked? We'll see you next time.
So that's Ron Yates. And my friends, first of all, somebody said in the chat that he is AI. That's not AI. There were light shadows coming in and out. The only thing I didn't like about it, or I don't like about what he does, is he's just reading to you. Because I can see his eyes following the like on-screen teleprompter, but so this is what I've been talking about, and this is what I said right away, was that this was an orchestrated campaign. Okay, we've seen this line up with billboards, we've seen this line up with them going on talk shows, not stepping back from the possible sedition, but stepping into it, leaning into it, and doubling down on it. Somebody said, yeah, it's not an AI. I'm trust me, I know these things. That's not AI. And he got a lot in a very short period of time, so I don't mind the reading, right? Because he obviously thought it out. He wrote the script and he did it. So yeah, you don't have to say he's AI like 50 times, by the way, especially when you're wrong about it. The other thing I wanted to address is that Trump whoppers, I guess I missed the part where it was seditious to remind the troops to disobey illegal orders. No, you didn't miss the part. What you missed is that they insinuated that President Trump's orders were illegal, which she then came on and said she wasn't aware of any illegal orders, but then talked about what's going on with Venezuela, the Venezuelan drug boats, and further doubled down and talked about, concerned that that the National Guard or the military, they're all nervous and they might shoot somebody. I mean, she literally said that. Now, what's important to understand is that all the financing of these things are pointing back to the organizations controlled by Soros. This is Slotkin with Alex Soros, and obviously Mark Kelly with Alex Soros. The Soroses are the kingmakers. The Soros are the money bags. The Saudi Arabian princes, especially Al-Walid, were the strings, the purse strings of the Clintons and Obama. And those strings were cut in 2017. The Soros strings haven't been cut yet. This House of Saud fell. That was the one side of the triangle. The second side of the triangle is the Rothschilds, and that's the banking in Israel, and that will fall. But Q said we're saving Israel for last, and that's the connection with Rothschilds and the banking. This is about that reset. And then the Soros is the other side of that triangle. So what we're seeing, and I stated this regarding the Charlie Kirk situation, was that the two directions that people are looking are this Tyler Robinson narrative, which is obviously absurd. And I believe it's been absurd because they wanted us to look at another option, and that is, okay, what's going on with Israel? And why is his wife acting so weird, acting so poorly? Why is Turning Point USA actually believing this bullshit narrative? So it's dredging up all this concern, and those to me are the final two sides of the triangle that the Charlie Kirk event is bringing to light. So so those are my thoughts on that. So this is it's coordinated. They're going on late night talk shows. They're going on podcasts. They're being interviewed by mainstream media. She's CIA. The shooter is linked to the CIA. Okay. The CIA is being exposed. What's happening in Venezuela, the exposure of Maduro as being the head of that narco organization that President Trump is going after. This is something that that we need to take a closer look at. Now, supposedly, I don't know if this actually happened or not, but I don't know if Maduro was on the plane. But Mario Nafal posted tonight that his plane, the Airbus A319 that always flies Maduro, touched down in Santa Elena de Olaren, right on the Venezuela-Brazil frontier. No official confirmation he's on board or that he's requested asylum in Brazil, but the timing is screaming, I'm out. Brazilian authorities say they haven't been contacted yet. If Maduro actually bolts, 26 years of Chavismo might die overnight. The military splits. Some will celebrate. Some will try a last stand. The opposition, Edmund Gonzalez and Maria Corina, instantly becomes a legitimate government in the eyes of the world. Cuba loses its oil lifeline and implodes within months while the U.S. bombing option gets shelved. No need to hit a collapsing regime. This is the moment millions of Venezuelans have prayed for while starving under his boot. If the rat is running, the ship is sinking fast. Hold the line, Venezuela. The nightmare might finally be ending. And of course, this is, President Trump getting very serious about what's going on in Venezuela and with the narco trafficking. And his post, this was, yesterday, regarding the airspace over. This was actually earlier today. Let me rephrase that. It's actually earlier today. That he said to all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety. Thank you for your attention in this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, this isn't like any huge revelation, but I had told you they shut down the land passageway for the human trafficking and the drug trafficking. Now they're shutting down the water pathways by bombing those boats and completely annihilating those. And now the next step is he'll shut down the air transport, because they have to go from, if they want to keep making money, they have to go from land to water to air. So the water delivery was in an uptick because they can't get any across the land because there's nothing coming across the border. And so now they have to go into air, and he's going after the air, which also makes sense given his sheer amount of ships and military personnel in the region. So at any rate, so yeah, masks are falling away. No question about it. Let's see. Edward, good to see you, brother. How you doing? Good evening. Carl's my bad. Let's see. Yeah, no, I am a movie pro, and I'm telling you, it's not fucking AI, dude. It's not even close. Let it go. Let it go. I don't give a fuck. It's good content. Yeah, I don't care if it's AI or if he's real. The content had to do with the seditious six and how this was, which is what I already told you. I'm just showing him for confirmation. Like, this is what I outlined about, right after it happened. So, you're stuck on this AI thing. Just listen to the content if you got a problem with, the AI. Let's see. I got two words for you, Dave. Kent State. I don't know what the fuck that means. Oh, you talking about the military? Yeah. You're going to need more than two words, and you're also going to need to actually look at the numbers of what has happened in DC and Memphis, and then tell me that our inner cities don't need a fucking enema. Okay. Let's see. Nevada Rob, what order are you talking about with Hegseth? Sorry if I missed it in the earlier comments. Yeah, Kelly's a deep state traitor, without question. They all are. This was orchestrated. This was from start to finish. All right. Let's see. Let's see. For the last 12 years, we have heard about Soros being behind everything, but I have never once seen any evidence, let alone proof of any of these claims. All right. I got to stop responding to you because obviously um, there's financial trails that are going back to Soros in the NGOs. The reason why they're going to this going to these groups like Antifa and these other groups is because they're finding where the purse strings are coming from, and that's Soros. So yeah, you've been hearing about it for a long time, and I knew about Soros long before that. Okay, so it's been a long time coming. I'll give you that, but it's coming. So let's see. Mommy's saying, let me see. Let's see. Booma, how you doing, man? I can put you in touch with Kevin. No problem. So, yeah, Booma's not a Q guy. Booma makes fun of Q guys, and we make fun of people that make fun of Q guys. So I guess we're even. Booma was a Q guy. Yeah. So how was my last couple days without you? Very lonely, BP. Very lonely, extremely lonely. No, it was good, but I missed you guys. Let's see. Okay, so explosions in Salvador, Christina, and also a shooting. Did you say in Stockton, California? Let's see. I love a sweary Dave. You get it once in a while. Tech the Noob, what's happening? Digging the longer hair, Dave. I haven't seen you for years. You had the shorter hair last time I seen you. Yeah, it's been a minute. So welcome back. Welcome back. I just got back this YouTube channel. So that's probably why they kept us away for a long time. But I've been crushing it on Rumble and X. I've been doing, 4 shows a week for since the 3 years I lost this channel, or 3 or 4 years I lost this channel. There was another one. Yeah, it's a fun game. Yeah, going back and forth. It's just it's seriously though. When you think of Q and you think of all the people that are anti-Q, and you think all of the people that are pro-Q, it's not that we don't know anything differently about the world. Okay, so take all the Q people, take all the people that think, say Q-tards and all that. Take these two groups, okay? Both, pretty fucking awake, okay? But here's the thing. This group and this group know the same overarching problems of the world, the deep state, Israel, the whole bit. And so we're all awake to that. And that's a really, really fucking good thing. Like, we should be like having bonfires together, right? And roasting s'mores. Okay. So we all see it. The non-Q people have either been discouraged by fake anons, been discouraged by the time it's taken, been discouraged by some of Trump's actions that speak to a subversive kind of a plan to suck us in and then, enwrap us in a surveillance police state. But we're all aware of that. We're also all aware of the Operation Trust, which they ran in the Bolshevik Revolution. But one thing to remember about Operation Trust was they released information and they tried to get people sucked in to believing that the military is going to save them. But don't forget, they took all their guns. They took all their guns. The Operation Trust happened after they were started to take the guns, and Operation Trust even supported people giving their guns and telling them that the military was going to take care of them. It didn't, but they haven't taken our guns. That was the next 8 years of false flags, school shootings, church shootings, et cetera, that Hillary was going to be a part of, make happen until Trump kind of got in the way. So, and it's obvious that Trump has communicated to us that he's a part of Q, but the people that are done with Q, again, false anons, tired of waiting, things that didn't come true, but Q never said. He only gave us one date twice with Hillary. The others we thought were dates, Law of War manual, and even told us last 2 years, next 6 years, and this is the 6th year of when Q said this is how long it's going to take. But and also Trump's actions. But when Trump's actions towards Israel, I always ask the question, well, if you think that Trump is pro-Israel, what are the number one and number two tools that Israel uses to manipulate the masses? And my thoughts on that are the media, Hollywood, music, news, talk shows, the music, the musicians that were so like, Springsteen and Dylan and Neil Young and so anti-establishment and Rage Against the Machine that when it came time, boy, they fell right in fucking line and told you to go get that jab in your arm. Yeah, and all the concerts that all the musicians had, boy, you had to be jabbed, or you had to have a card, or you had to have a test. And we lost a lot of them, and a lot of them lost our support because they were no longer counterculture. They were like lockstep. And so you have this all this control by the Zionists, by the Khazarians, including porn, by the way, which is a big one, and it's robbing, I think, our youth, and even adults, of course. But I mean, it's and the programming and the social modeling and the NGOs and all this, their control is so vast, and Trump has disseminated the fake news media. And that's part of the exposure is, and also we're seeing the alternative media that's being exposed as well, like Israeli shills that are, getting paid per post, et cetera. And then the second one that the Khazarians control is the banks. And Trump is chipping away at the Federal Reserve. No tax on tip, no tax on overtime, et cetera. And then is even talking about abolishing the IRS, bringing in tariffs, the ERS, starting the ERS in January. And so he's destroyed their hold on humanity. So I get that, and they're important conversations, important, to question Trump and so forth. But the Anons know that there's a plan. And the Anons have seen what's been predicted. And even though we're all awake, we're very divided on this. There's people even divided on Flynn, ridiculously so. Like, oh, Flynn's this, oh, Flynn's that. I don't give a fuck. Honestly, if Flynn comes back in the picture, that's fucking great. If he doesn't, okay. How does it affect me? Doesn't affect me at all. Right. But it just goes to show you how easy it is to divide even those who believe, 9 out of 10, things. And that 10th thing, we're just allowing ourselves to be, talking about, like what we're clashing on is kind of ridiculous, but it's it's separating us, but we are united in so many ways. So at any rate, this is so I want to just go, talk about that. And because there's people on both sides. So it's interesting. So what is happening with Venezuela? And certainly that the plane landing is very curious. So listen, if the United States was coming after me with the full weight of battleships and aircraft carriers and stopping our drug supply, et cetera, I'd get the fuck out of Dodge. I mean, you got to be stupid to be sticking around. You poke the bear, and if the bear wakes up and comes running at you, you better get the hell out of there. And that's exactly what I think is happening. Okay. So, yeah, so this is, so let me talk about the big week. First of all, we got two friends and listeners of this show, Kevin Rottello and Spiritual Street Fighter. Spiritual Street Fighter has been reposted by President Trump. I believe the number is 45 times. And all of her memes are Q and Q plus, and her bio is all Q. She's an anon. She loves Q. She believes the plan, etc. And President Trump has made many confirmations to that using her artwork, and she allows us to use her artwork on my thumbnails for the show, which I'm very grateful for because she always has great stuff. Today I did one. Let me get rid of that. Today I did this one, which and I'll show you this. But this week, President Trump also reposted Kevin Rottello's post on Truth of the seditious six being locked up behind bars, right? But let me take you to here we go. Kevin's post here. And here it is. Obviously, that's Spiritual Street Fighter. And so Kev did that. Now, the reason I bring them both up is because President Trump reposted the six going behind bars. The reason I bring them both up is because that was a day when President Trump addressed the seditious six and their sedition against this country. And he went post after post after post, including somebody saying that they should be hung and the definition of sedition and Spiritual Street Fighters for that he reposted for memes that she had done. So it was a really big day because that was the sedition. And we saw all that from President Trump even before we saw them doubling and tripling down with these interviews that they're doing, right? Which to me just lays on the sedition even more, especially as we tie in the financial ties to Soros and his organizations. And these were the four that were posted by President Trump of Spiritual Street Fighter. Nothing can stop what is coming. That's anonymous, obviously, but full on Q. Time to obliterate the deep state. Do it Q. Okay. TikTok with the Q plus on the collar. Okay. So make these bigger. And by the way, she does these like with graphic design. This isn't AI doing these. She's a graphic designer. She does a beautiful job with these. And then remember your oath, right? And so President Trump reposted all of these, even this one. I think that is unlawful. I know it was an order, but I think we should all think about this before an attack. This was the interview with Slotkin.
Let's talk right now. Let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And by the way, every time this person talks, she's CIA. This is about, color revolution is the terminology that's resurfaced and is being talked about. Every time she talks, it's almost like she's talking to a 4-year-old. Next time you hear her talk, think about that and tell me if I'm right. So this was all a part of, President Trump's, response. Here's the sedition. I showed this the other night, the oath. So he followed up with Spiritual Street Fighters' oath of office. This is the military tribunals post that he reposted. The treason and sedition he posted this, again. And this is Kevin's that he reposted here. There we go. There you go. Now, one thing I want to bring to light here is that we have the 29th, November 29th, and I'm going to take you to the deltas for today. Okay. Let me put this in the background here. There we go. So the last drop on November 29th was at 6:01:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A picture is worth many sentences. Has POTUS ever made a statement that hasn't been proven to be correct? Future ? Think timing. Think Senate lock. Think Supreme Court lock. Locked and who is loaded? Q. A couple things I get out of this. First of all, I just mentioned this the other night when I was saying, has he ever made a statement that hasn't been, proven to be correct? Now, sometimes people can say, yeah, he said this, but this hasn't happened. But most of the time, I see that as a yet because of the way things are unfolding. And so when he's posting about the sedition, trust me, he's already talked to the lawyers, the constitutionalists. He's already figured this out. He's not just flying off the cuff with his posts. And especially when he says, has he ever made a statement that hasn't been proven to be correct? And he's he's making multiple statements on the same subject, the same topic, which really makes me think that they're going down for sedition, especially now that they're doubling down. We're finding out where these connections are. This was interesting. Thinks Supreme Court lock. Well, he just nullified 92% of Joe Biden's auto pen laws. Now, one of those is Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Supreme Court. And people are asking, is she up for, dismissal because of that? And that's highly probable. It's also possible that this is going to be challenged because even though he had the auto pen sign them, he has come out publicly and said that he approved of the pardons and so forth. So it's a gray area, but I lean more for Trump simply because he's saying it so aggressively that it's almost like it's got to be true. Otherwise, he wouldn't be going full on that. So, just my take, just my thought, and this is all this is all, very very timely this week, and everything that's happening is like it's like almost like I feel a crescendo coming that we've wanted to see for quite some time. Other drops on this day, there were only 3. There was the Christmas tree, and I can't remember where this was. And Q said we know, and if anybody knows where this was, I forget. I forget this dive, quite honestly, and so I don't know. Let me see if I can. Okay. Yeah. So, and then the other post is 234 November 29, 2017. Snow White utilized activated to silence. This was not anticipated. Control protection lost. Routing through various networks, jumpers randomly has created connection security issues. Working to resolve, select people removed. Stay strong. We are winning. More to follow. This has to do with the supercomputer and also the satellite program of the CIA, by the way. Okay. Taken over by the white hats. So we think, right? But we are winning. Stay strong. We are winning. There are a lot of great messages like that. And if, and Q has always, for me, been a pick me up. Like, we're getting our asses kicked, and we're finding that, one thing after another, we're like, son of a bitch, when's something going to happen here? And Q was a fantastic motivator for me. I don't know where people get the just sit on the couch and eat popcorn. No, we're inspired. We're jumping into stuff. I was inspired by Q to do this podcast because I felt that we were being told that this is all happening, and that for the first time in my life, I actually felt somebody with some level of power and justice tied to it was on my side. And other than that, you just got a bunch of black pillars that don't have a solution. They just do not have a solution, and that bums me out. That bums me out. I wanted to show you this, obviously, President Trump has dementia and he's unfit for office. And, you've seen all those posts on X. Yeah. So this is our dementia president. Boom. Yeah.
Got it on video. We got it on.
Yeah, you can't do that, folks. If you're mentally declining at the level that so many people are saying that Trump is declining at, and trying to go after things. Now, I want to bring you to an interview with Kash Patel on a couple things, and this is first one was shared by Benny Johnson. That I'm going to show you. And this is really important because, certainly people are like, oh, we got to get rid of Bondi. We got to get rid of Kash. We got to get rid of Bongino or whatever. And because they're lying about Charlie Kirk. Yes, they are lying about Charlie Kirk. I can tell you 117%, this man has lied to us about Charlie Kirk. This man has lied to us about Epstein, but this man is playing his role because as I told you about Trump and Epstein, I said, guys, Trump wants the Epstein files released. You know this from day one. The day he said, in the cabinet meeting, we're still talking about this guy Epstein? What's wrong with you guys? It's a hoax and all that. That day, there were like 5 posts about Epstein. It was July 8th, 2025. And go to the Deltas, July 8th, 2025, and you will see that there were multiple Epstein-related posts on the day that Q Plus, who has told us that he's in with Q like more times than I can count, 45 with Spiritual Street Fighter alone, that, and that was, and I told you on that day, he's going to have the Democrats and the media and Hollywood and everybody calling for the release of the Epstein files, because now they think he's in them because he's trying to keep them from being released. It was a fucking setup the whole time. Okay. He's got to be part of that setup. Bondi has to be part of that setup. Okay. But now we're getting into some interesting territory, because now they're starting to go after Comey, Brennan, Stroke, Page, and James on another subject. And it's getting very interesting.
And that's what we did. That's what we're doing. That's how we found it. And we're going to continue to expose it. And you're going to see everything we found in that room in one way or another.
He's talking about the burn bags that they found in that room that I told you I thought was a setup.
Be it through investigation, public trial, or disclosure to the Congress. And that's what we did.
Because what I've said to you is, when you're listening to, Cash and Bongino, for example, talk about Epstein, with the files that we have, Epstein didn't traffic to anybody. With the files that we have, Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. And I pointed that out when it happened. And I said, that's because what they have to expose, and this was before the burn bags, I told you this, that they have to show that somebody got rid of the real evidence. The previous, controllers of the FBI and the DOJ had to get rid of the real evidence. But the burn bags, now, I don't believe that something so important that they had to get rid of is going to make it to a burn bag and not get burned. But Q has said we have it all. So I believe that the burn bags were how they were trying to get rid of stuff, but they stopped them from doing so, and they're going to expose them, right? So listen to what he has to say about Comey.
Because it's pending in terms of
I don't know why it stopped.
Status and what we are going to do for the next steps. The judicial process can make whatever determination it wants, but we, the FBI, and our partners at the DOJ have numerous options to proceed, and we're executing on all those options. So we're not done.
Any detail available?
I would say stay tuned for right after Thanksgiving, and you'll see multiple responses, in my opinion.
So
they're talking about Comey and the judge dropping the investigation.
you've initiated some cultural changes in the FBI. That's something that many people have talked about. Some people like it, some people don't. What would you say is the most?
Because it's pending.
Sorry, I wanted to clip that off at that time. So at any rate, I guess I'm kind of, wanting to paint, the big picture for you. And let me play this for you. This is from Whiplash, and Elon Musk posted this, and I don't know the exact date when he posted it, but it was a while back, I believe, because he hasn't had, I don't believe he's had this picture up for a while.
The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. Runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. The jackals.
Yeah, this justice, my friends, is coming. There's no way how there's no way that you can't put the cat back in the bag. And what Q started was a Socratic method of asking questions and getting the followers to think for themselves, do their own research, come back with their own stuff, open up this worldwide revolution that that coordinated with Trump, coordinated with Saudi Arabia, with the Saudi Arabia purge, because the Q drops happened right after the Saudi Arabia purge in 2017. And get to the point where we're so awake that we're not falling for a lot of the shit. Sometimes we might fall for some of it, but we're not falling, and it's temporary. But everyone's being exposed. Everybody is being exposed. And how are they being exposed? They're being exposed by us. Q called us into the huddle. I've said only the people in the huddle are the ones that have an ability to, win the game. The coaches, the players, and the team managers. They're the only ones in the huddle. The fans aren't, the cheerleaders aren't, the parents aren't, the boosters, they're not in the huddle. We're in the huddle because we are absolutely imperative to remember, military, the only way forward is military was only posted twice, and one time it was reposted, dropped 26. Only 3 times was military mentioned as the only way. Transparency, accountability, and justice was 20 times. That much more important because we have to be ready for all this to occur. We have to have the predictive programming, if you will, the synapses that are firing in that direction, the new pathways to imagine that kind of reality. So this was all orchestrated, but we're all now awake. So we're not going to let them get away with shit. And I've told the people, if Q's legit, which I believe it is without question, we're good. We just have to be patient. And if Q is not legit, they fucked up because they woke us up. They gave us all this information and they never got our guns. They fucked up because you can't, once a population is awake, you cannot put them back to sleep. And if it's not, Trump's name will be like Motel 6. Like there won't be, the Anons aren't happy with just like, okay, yeah, you're going to make the economy better and lower our taxes. And no, close the border. No. We're not going to be happy until there's fucking justice for everybody that has enslaved humanity and has harmed children. They all got to go down. They all got to pay the price. And that's what the 550,000 sealed indictments, I believe, are. all of those people. They already did the work. Huber, Sessions, the Q deltas for tomorrow. I showed you just the three are, let's see, it looks like they're 24. Okay. And it starts off with the day. Let me share this with you. Starts off on November 30th, 2017. Where's Barack Obama? What is the purpose? Who fired? When? Reconciled? This was the first. See, we didn't know that President Trump had a missile fired at Air Force One to try to assassinate him without Q. This is the kind of stuff. Focus on Hussein. That's Barack Obama. Revelations coming very, very soon. Now, obviously, that was 2017. Did they come very, very soon? Well, certainly some revelations, but not at the level that he's been taken out. Huma, Saudi Arabia, Hussein. Okay. This is the funding of Barack Obama at Harvard. HLR first. I got to look up HLR. Civil rights attorney, 13th District Senator, DNC. Hussein versus HRC versus McCain. Why is this relevant? Follow the money pre-presidential, which leads us to Saudi Arabia. And we found out all this, folks. Q knew all this, but when they hung Al-Walid by his ankles at the Ritz-Carlton in Riyadh, took away his Twitter stock, took away all his holdings that he accumulated through Kingdom Holdings. Bin Salman even came out and said he did that not with his money, he did that with the kingdom's money. Okay, all that stuff. That's when the White Hats first took over Twitter, started changing Twitter until they brought Musk in. Why does Hussein travel ahead of POTUS? Why did Hussein travel behind POTUS? Because between the impeachment, the Russia collusion, and the assassination attempt, primarily, what Q is telling us here is that think Asia, think North Korea. What was told regarding North Korea during the past 8 years? What dramatic shift occurred regarding North Korea post-election of POTUS? Reconcile. The CIA controlled North Korea before Trump took over. That's why he was such good friends with Un, is because he got him out from underneath the thumb of the CIA. Also, two big bombings by Trump. The mountain in North Korea, which collapsed their nuclear weapons, and the site in Iran in the second term, collapsing their nuclear weapon system. Now, how are those two connected? I'll get to that in a second. Define hostage, the sum of all fears. Why are sexual harassment claims all appearing suddenly? Coincidence? What is a pill? When is it hard to swallow? How do you remove your enemies from positions of influence and authority? Define stages, define puppets, define puppet handlers, proxy war, proxy war, proxy war. Expand your thinking. Why is justice stalling release of C-level info? Think. Does POTUS control all matters classified? Think. Have faith. These people are losers. Okay. What if North Korea had a miniature nuke payload delivery in 2004? What if they had ICBM capability since 2009? What if the previous tests that failed were staged? Why would this be relevant? Who is involved and why? Biggest cover-up in our history. Uranium One, that was Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Canada, that was Trudeau. They went up through Canada to the EU and then to Asia and North Korea, also Iran. Those were the two bombings that Trump did. And it wasn't even questioned if Trump did the mountain in North Korea. And he even said, hey, a mountain imploded today. I wonder if they had any nuclear weapons facilities in there. He knew damn well they did, and they made it happen. Iran deal, that brings Iran into it, and the Russian reset, because they were trying to get us to look friendly with Russia at that time, because Russia's the one that that negotiated the Uranium One deal, which Robert Mueller took the sample to Moscow. 238, Sidley Austin, happy hunting. Okay, now I've taken you this, excuse me, I've taken you to this before, okay? Sidley Austin is who hired Barack Obama and Michelle Robinson, who became Michelle Obama, or Mike Obama, as many people believe. So Sidley Austin was also founded. Let me take you to this. Her mentor was a man by the name of Newton Minow, okay, who was born January 17th, 26 in Chicago. So he's a part of the Chicago mafia, if you will, of election corruption going back to the Dailies. As a matter of fact, Michelle was a clerk for one of the dailies, Richard M. Daley. When she left Sidley Austin in 92, she resigned from there to take a position as assistant to Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley in City Hall, her first full-time public sector job. The Daleys were notorious for rigging elections in Chicago. Now, what we're seeing with Venezuela, keep an eye on Venezuela, because they are involved very deeply and very heavily in controlling our elections here in the United States. This is much bigger than drug trafficking, okay? So she worked for Sidley Austin for 4 years, but this Newton Minow guy, he was an aide to Adlai Stevenson. He's a Democrat. He was the chairman of the FCC under Kennedy when he was 35 years old. He worked for Encyclopedia Britannica. And now that we know how our encyclopedias and our history books have been changed, and all the publishing houses and all the sweet deals with these politicians, we now have a greater understanding of the corruption in that realm as well. Partner at Sidley Austin, and he was he won some Emmys for PBS leadership, Peabody Award, Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama. Remember all those pictures of all the Medal of Freedom winners like Tom Hanks and Bill Gates and Ellen DeGeneres? Yeah, okay. So he remained a friend and informal advisor to the Obamas throughout their political careers and lived to see Barack Obama award him the Medal of Freedom in 2016. He died at home in Chicago in 2023 at age 97. Okay. So Q was making us aware of this. Now, there's another alumni of Sidley Austin that I want to bring to your attention. And that is that J.D. Vance worked for Sidley Austin as well. Okay. So, but he didn't have this kind of connection with Minow, is my understanding, because, you know, he was literally her, Michelle's mentor. She was the first Black lawyer hired by Sidley Austin. And he was very involved with Barack Obama. So I can't see him cozying up too much with J.D. Vance. But that's the Sidley Austin connection from tomorrow on Q, on the Deltas. So let me take you, I'm not going to do them all, but I'm going to take you to a few more. The Asia Foundation, happy hunting. That's tied in with child trafficking. This is about 4chan moving to 8chan because of the infiltration. To the person who leaked Huber, Clinton Foundation whistleblower, do not reveal more. Monday. To all those who doubted Sessions and Huber, you will all pay the price very soon. Now, what Q's telling us here is basically, remember when Q started, there were like 60,000 sealed indictments. Okay. Now there's 550,000. Okay. You can see those, by the way, there are links to those to the spreadsheet on the Ingersoll Lockwood website. Q is telling us that Sessions and Huber, and have told us over and over again, we're working behind the scenes on these things. Okay. First and only leak public regarding Huber activities. No further details should be released. Warning, pain coming. There was a lot going on behind the scenes. Okay. And don't forget, at the time, okay, people that were pro-Trump thought Sessions was a traitor because Sessions allowed Mueller to run the special counsel on the Russia collusion. But remember, Trump already met with Mueller, even though he wasn't in a position to become the FBI director again, because he had served out his term. So we know that there was some behind the scenes stuff, but Q even told us that Sessions must remain neutral. So we see, you know, Bondi, we see Cash, Bongino, and we see some of the things they're doing around Epstein and all that, and we're questioning still. I can tell you flat out that they're lying about Epstein and that they're lying about Charlie Kirk. Flat out, I'll fucking tell you they're lying, but they're playing this role. And this role was to send people down this path of the purse strings of these organizations infiltrating our country and trying to tear us apart from within. And they made it such a ridiculous fucking thing. Nobody believes it that's awake. Tyler Robinson, my ass, so that we'd look at other possibilities. And the other possibility that everyone was looking at was Israel. Candace Owens is still the only top, you know, broadcaster. Ian Carroll's doing it. That is saying that Ryan Matta, that it's all bullshit. There's no way in hell that Charlie died by Tyler Robinson. Some other people are doing it too, but I'm just talking about some people that are, you know, big. But they're also anti-Trump because they don't see the necessity of these two directions. We have to find the purse strings that are running these NGOs and running these Antifa organizations and all that. And they have it. They have it all. And we had to not believe that so that we'd look at Israel. And we've been doing that. And look, just since Charlie Kirk, my friends, I just want to ask you this. Have you ever seen so much anti-Zionist, anti-Israel government on X or any platform before Charlie Kirk or after Charlie Kirk? I've seen a lot after. I was seeing some before, certainly, because that's part of our awakening is the history of these people. But so at any rate, this is all about Sessions, okay? But I just wanted to remind you that many of you were questioning Sessions back here that were aware of all this, okay? Clickbait and opinions versus logical thinking, Q says. Direct communication necessary. Trust yourself. Think for yourself. What cult leader would possibly ever tell you to think for yourself and teach you Socratically? Where we go one, we go all, Q. So at any rate, Comey, timestamp, attorney challenge to subpoena. They challenged the subpoena to Comey back then. Do the math. Q post timestamp regarding D-class prior to post testimony. This is Pence, all for a LARP, right? Q. I posted something to that effect. Oh, when I reposted Trump's 4 reposts of Spiritual Street Fighter. Okay, this guy's wearing a flat out big old Q right on his front, right? Meaning with Pence, who would later, you know, sell us out, but I believe that was a part of it as well. It's spreading, we the people. Okay. Also, future will prove past, history books, justice, enjoy the show. So Q's telling us the history books are bullshit. Okay. Justice is coming. Okay. Why do the Clintons remain in control of many still in power? Blackmail. The Clinton family is working overtime. Panic in D.C. Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Mueller will face charges regarding uranium one. I told you he took the sample to Moscow. He's working to save himself. Okay. So he was doing the right thing. He couldn't do what the deep state wanted him to do, which was to take out Trump. He did not take him out with the Russia collusion. All right. Anon's geolocated last pick, Qingdao, China, Hyatt Regency players 8. Watch the news. Yeah. So all for a LARP. Why is Washington Post leading the attack regarding Q? How many articles have been written regarding Q? Who owns Washington Post? Who owns Washington Post? All for LARP. My friends, that's what I say about the anti-Q folks. They're in lockstep with the mainstream media. Nobody came after anybody in history as much as the mainstream media came after Trump and came after Q. Why is that? And why are the people that don't believe Q or don't think that Trump's here to help us? How do they reconcile all the mainstream media? Oh, that's a part of it. That's a farther stretch than actually believing that Q has it all. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is this is the deltas for tomorrow. How they're trying to get us to look at Russia and the whole Mueller fiasco and why Mueller did what he did, which was the right thing because he collected the evidence. Now, I wanted to show you Rubio here talking about here. Alex Jones shared this little clip here about the EU's response to what the U.S. is doing in Venezuela.
I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is. They certainly don't get to determine is how the United States defends its national security. The United States is under attack from organized criminal narco-terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all these countries want us to send, and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem. So I would say that the United States and this president has made very clear, his job is to protect the United States from threats against the United States. And that is what he's doing in this operation.
Boom. That's it. Oh, shit. I didn't show you that. Sorry about that, folks. Let me try that again. You're just staring there.
I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is. They certainly don't get to determine is how the United States defends its national security. The United States is under attack from organized criminal narco-terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all these countries want us to send, and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem. So I would say that the United States and this president has made very clear, his job is to protect the United States from threats against the United States. And that is what he's doing in this operation.
So here's the thing. Why is Europe so concerned? Why is Washington so concerned? Why is Hollywood and the music industry and everybody so concerned about Ukraine? Vladimir Putin publicly tried to not go to war multiple times with Ukraine with one thing: you cannot join NATO. Period. End of story, because that was the agreement we signed in 2014. You are not to join NATO, and everybody in the world was trying to get Ukraine to join NATO. So why are they so concerned with Ukraine? More concerned with Ukraine than the United States, as Rubio just alluded to. Why? Because of the corruption, the FTX fiasco with the crypto company. All the money that was going to Ukraine, so much of it was going into FTX and then back to all the Democrats that were saying, yeah, we got to give money to Ukraine. Huge money laundering operation. The bioweapons labs in Ukraine that we broke back in March of, on this show, we found in the Wayback Machine the documentation of on the U.S. embassy in Kiev that flat out showed all the bioweapons labs and who funded them. The United States Department of Defense. 1.2 million, 1.7 million, 1.5 million, 1.4 million. All these different investments by the DoD. Biological weapons is what they were working on. That must be exposed. Money laundering, bioweapons labs, and the child trafficking in Ukraine. All that needs to be exposed. And that's, in my opinion, why the war has not stopped, because that has not yet taken hold, and it needs to take hold. Right. So, let's see. Listen, just get rid of Trump whoppers. Listen, dude, here's the thing. Yeah, free speech, but if you're going to be a dick, you're out. You're gone. And I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it on my end. And I'm sorry I haven't done so before. I haven't been taking care of the chat. I've been focused on other things, but definitely somebody that needs to, is just here to just, pretend like they know more than all of us. And that's not the case. And we're not race baiting. We're not doing any of that shit. And it's just some moron. So my apologies for allowing that to go on as long as I did. I tried to speak, nicely and respectfully to that person. But if they're going to continue to dump in the chat just such ridiculous bullshit, it's unbelievable. 4 dead, 10 injured in Stockton, California at an ice cream parlor. So it's beginning, folks. These false flags, some legitimate, happenings without question, but definitely what you're witnessing, and what I believe happened with these seditious six was that was an MK Ultra programming trigger, because she's CIA, he's former military, color revolutionists, MK Ultra triggers, in my opinion. And that's why they're doubling down in the way that they are, is because that's exactly what's taking place. Let me pull this story up. It looks like it was, this is from InfoRoom. I just pulled it up. I don't know this account. A mass shooting in Stockton, California has left at least 10 people injured, including a 9-year-old, 12-year-old, and 23-year-old. The 12-year-old is undergoing CPR on scene as first responders handle multiple critical victims. Scanner traffic reports a massive multi-agency response near a residential area with no suspect or motive yet known. The community, already shaken by youth violence, faces another devastating blow as authorities race to stabilize the wounded. Now, folks, when you think of California, Stockton is pretty rough. So it's not like it's like this little suburban cute village or something. Stockton is a shithole, for lack of a better way of saying it. That was from the Hindustan Times stock advice. I don't know what that's all about, but let's see. April Silverman says, I just want to give a shout out to Gavin Newsom. You're a rock star, a real role model for the entire nation. Thank you for your safest Thanksgiving weekend of all time. Oh, wait. Stockton mass shooting and Black Friday shooting at Westfield Valley Fair Mall. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And even he's against Trump, right? 19 shot at children's party. Now, my guess on this is that it's just inner city crime. Shooter still at large, I guess, as of 16 minutes ago. Please keep me posted on that. But this is very easily a gang related, inner city related. May come out that it's undocumented, like these last two, and the last two I'm talking about are the DC and also the one in Texas and Fort Worth, the Muslim, another Afghan. Yeah. Farah, do you work in Stockton? Am I accurate in my description of it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't check his coat. I didn't do the coat check, but a guy like that's probably not going to anyway. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Guys, if you want to support my work, please do so. You know, it's that time of the month, and you know, got to pull it together, my friends. I wish you know, I wish I was independently wealthy. Not the case. Not the case. And you just don't get there when you give away everything you've ever done. You don't get there. You charge for stuff you've done and you make a lot of money. That wasn't my calling. This is not to keep information away from anybody. This is to make sure that everybody is getting the information that they're supposed to be getting. What do I want to go to next? Yeah, I don't want to her. Let's see. Let me take you to let me see, and I'll drop the link. If you're not on Snedheads, please go to snedheads.com. It's free to join. If you want to support that platform, which is amazing, I ask you to do so. $17 a month. It's a great research tool. You got Window to the World. If you're not on X, you can kind of get a glimpse of X with Window to the World. But it's like Facebook, but it's better because you're not putting up with bullshit ads. You're not being tracked, traced, listened to, watched, and you can do quite a bit of research. You get, breaking news on the news feed in the upper right. Numerous emergency crews on the scene of a major mass shooting at birthdays. Multiple children have been shot with fatalities. You got some great posts. Here's Heather Willard with Donald J. Trump talking about the airspace above Venezuela. Oh, I didn't put tonight's show on there. My apologies. Let me do that real quick, just so it's there. But you can embed posts, and you can drop the embed link into Snedheads, and you will see the post come up here, right there. That's tonight's show, and that's live, so you can watch it here on Snedheads, or you can double click it and go into X and watch it. Okay. But you got the Donation Nation here, and I'll drop this link for anybody that would like to support me. Again, my friends, this war of just sustainability, I'm losing, and that's a problem, because if I'm losing, then a lot of other good content creators are losing, because the content creators that were that aren't really putting out really great content, so many of them are well financed, but it's not the content that we should be necessarily listening to. And so, I mean, watch anybody you want. I tell you, go watch other shows, but when you come back here and you kind of get the bigger picture, people without Q, they just do not have the big picture. If they're not trusting in what's going on as being a part of the mass awakening of humanity, they're just not seeing the same picture I am. I'm not going to say that it's a wrong picture, but I, without question, and Q has alluded to this many times, I don't believe it's the accurate picture. And part of me figuring that out and realizing, oh my gosh, I want to, okay, hold on one sec. There we go. So I just put the donation link in the comments. Thank you, folks. And we'll get your name on the wheel. You see your name spin around. Get that going. Yeah, gang related would be my guess, right? Yeah, same. Yes, David, has been very police activity today in Stockton. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, crime's coming down. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times these shooters get away in the big cities. As always, 70 different gangs with around 2,000 members in Stockton. Thank you, Bo Hunter. I appreciate that. Averages 28 people per gang. What is Dave's YouTube? Can't watch on Rumble tonight for some reason. I'll put that in the chat as well. I'll put that link. And it's also, I've shared that on here we go. That is the link for us on YouTube that I just dropped. Okay. So yeah. Thank you, Moonbeam. Yeah, please join us over on Snedheads, guys, because when the internet goes down, it's going to be all the big players, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok and all that. They're not going to come for Snedheads. We're going to fly under the radar. Let's see. Corinne says, we're hearing loud explosions and gunshots in Southeast Portland. Just called 911. And they said they have many reports just happened and it's still going on. Thank you, Corinne, for that heads up. Let me see if there's anything going on in Portland tonight. By the way, guys, we're number 4 if you count Alex Jones's two channels. JLR, he always gets a lot, especially with events like this, because I met him down at the border down in at Eagle Pass, and he was down there covering the border like I was. Al Jazeera, and then here we are right here. We're just under 1,000. I thought we were up over 1,000. Well, we've got well over 1,000 on YouTube, Rumble, DLive, and Facebook. So at any rate, I was coming here to look up Portland, see if anything is being reported in Portland. Let's let's see. This is Portland, America's drug addiction. Folks, show them this when they're talking about blowing boats out of the water coming from Venezuela, please. All right, this is fentanyl. This is the fentanyl fold. Yeah. Yeah, this is somebody in Portland 9 hours ago. Nothing reported yet from here's Portland police. Let's see if they have anything going on. Oh, nothing new. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on that. Please keep me posted. Thank you for that, Corinne. Yeah, you're probably hearing it before they do. Yeah. Let's see. Edward, Dave, I have a challenge for Team SNED. I am tapped until early next month. I have food, shelter, fuel, and coffee, and literally have $1.50 in the bank. Can send $1. That's amazing, Edward. But please don't, brother. Like, seriously, you know that the reason why I give this away is for people that are struggling like that. But I'm so glad you have all that stuff covered. And I really appreciate it. And you always send me $5, like at least couple times a month. So thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. But please understand, folks, this is why I do it for free. When I'm asking for money, I'm not asking for money from people that can't afford to send me money. I'm asking for people that can have the means and can support free information so that people that need free information can get it, and that I can keep the lights on and keep going. So thank you for that, Edward. I appreciate that. And but please don't send me money. Let me get to you guys. I want to get back to you. Thank you, brother. Again, appreciate that. And again, if $3-5, guys, can you imagine, like, if everyone sent me $3? I'd be good. Like I'd be okay for the next, several days. Like this, covers me for a month with my roof over my head. That's a big deal. But like 4% give. Is that real hair, Dave? Yeah, it is. If you know me, you know I've done every role on a movie set except hair and makeup, and it shows. So there we go. Let's see. Okay. Why is that? Let's see. I think I did that. I got rid of this idiot. I'm sorry that we're still having those moronic comments from that one dude, but I think he's gone now. But let's see. Let's see. I'll check the new. It will be Cloudflare that probably gets targeted, so I'd ensure you aren't running through that. I am not. That's a good point, because Cloudflare is like, the backbone of the web. You're absolutely right. That's a really good call. So let's see. Love you, Ravens Wings. Listen, you're always such a great contribution to this show. So do just take the night off, for crying out loud, okay? Take care of that headache. I mean, you still got to listen, right? But you don't have to respond. Let's see. What are the false flags for? I'm kind of confused still. There's so much going on. It's overwhelming. So, Q talked about this. We already knew it, but Q says, what happens when things are going bad for the Democrats? False flags. You're changing the narrative. And by the way, I just watched a little bit of Wag the Dog today. Pretty difficult to watch any movie with Robert De Niro in it anymore. But I listened to it as I was doing some work on the computer. I had it like on one of the screens behind me. And it was, they get this Hollywood producer and they create this narrative. And basically they go to war to try to change this narrative about the president supposedly being accused of molesting a young girl. Not too far from the truth of what we see with both Biden and Trump and those types of accusations flying towards them. And of course, the Epstein list. So this is like what we're experiencing is a lot of bad news coming for the Dems. Like what they're going to have probably Monday, and they know this Monday or Tuesday because Cash just said this about Comey, and we already know this is coming. That they're going to come back at Comey, because here's the thing that we must understand. Somebody said, see, they dropped the charges on Comey, they dropped the charges on Letitia James in the same day, same judge. Corrupt, Soros controlled, corrupt, and we know for a fact that Letitia James committed fraud on a mortgage document, and we know for a fact that James Comey lied under oath because it doesn't match with the written documentation that prove otherwise. So why would these charges be dropped? Because of a corrupt system that we have had to experience firsthand, so that we understand that these people are not going to see justice in this current system. It has to be the military tribunals, which President Trump reposted this week, right? Gunshots stopped as of now. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, great movie, Wag the Dog. Yeah, Wag the Dog. Yes, exactly. So at any rate, I hope that helps. And but they're also the false flags. So this is what I was saying about this whole Seditious Six. This isn't just they put out a video. No, this was financed, strategized, choreographed, written, projected out, along with follow-up with billboards and interviews on talk shows and sitting in front of the tree. Mark Kelly did one today, sitting in front of the tree like he's just a regular guy. Here it is. I'm going to play a little bit of this clown for you. And by the way, the 1:17 this video is.
Hey folks, it's Mark Kelly, and I'm sitting by a tree here on the mall in Washington, watching a lot of unhappy people go by, protesting this administration and the dumb things they are doing.
Doubling down the dumb things they're doing. This administration. He is fucking military. Okay. Retired, but military.
Like raising tariffs.
Raising tariffs. Mr. Kelly, don't you mean balancing tariffs? That's what nobody talks about. We've been getting fucked by all of these countries for like a couple generations. Okay. And raising tariffs? No. Balancing tariffs.
On all these countries, which is a big tax hike for American families.
No. Might we have some increased prices initially? Yes. Will we be getting revenue from this? Yes. Will we also be seeing more jobs coming to this country? Yes. And to the tune of already $20 trillion.
And the result of that is a stock market that is incredibly volatile. And Donald Trump,
except for people like him that know what's going to happen. And so they trade and make, millions.
Trump has destroyed trillions and trillions of dollars of wealth. He is, I think, without a doubt now, the person who has ever lived on this planet that has destroyed more money more quickly. I'm sure he wins on speed.
By the way, the stock markets had more record highs during his second term than ever in history.
And also the amount he managed to destroy here, trillions and trillions of dollars.
And he's not saying anything about the Federal Reserve chairman who, because he won't lower interest rates, we're losing trillions.
Gone from people's 401ks, or maybe it was money they were trying to save to put a down payment on a house because they're a young family.
And then Trump came up with a 50-year mortgage, which is very controversial. But the bottom line is it lowers your monthly. Most people don't live in a house 50 years. Our parents did, maybe our parents' parents did, but we don't. Okay. So it's just going to be lower price to buy a home, lower price per month. That could lower it $300 or $400 to the range of rents, but you're building equity along the way and you're creating community because you own, you beautify the place, you take care of the place. There's a big difference.
This is not the way to run a government, not the way you should run an economy.
So who is this motherfucker? And what the fuck does he know? This is all orchestrated.
This is a good idea. Donald Trump and people that work directly for Donald Trump, they think this is brilliant. They think the boom is coming. Well, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't unravel these tariffs soon, this is not likely to end well.
So this is also pressure on the Supreme Court to, overturn this whole thing, which I've told you, if the Supreme Court does that, it's Insurrection Act, without question. And that may be the thing that we need to get there. Okay. Yeah. So this is all, and this is happening, Kelly didn't say anything about, Joe Biden's open border, letting in 20 million illegal immigrants. None of these people that are fighting for these illegal immigrants were saying shit when they paid for them to come into our country. They gave them EBD cards. They gave them Social Security benefits. These people getting in the way of NYPD, of ICE. These are demonstrators trying to block ICE. There's a group that was stuck in a building for hours because the building was surrounded by protesters. When you come to find out that these protesters are paid, choreographed, then you understand that this is an insurrection. And again, President Trump wouldn't have said anything about insurrection if it wasn't true or if it wasn't going to come to fruition. Yeah, this is unbelievable. This is ICE trying to do their damn job. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I can't believe Mark Kelly's military the way he's talking as well. He's owned by the chopsticks. You're downtown, but in a suburb of Portland, plane flying over and circling. Okay.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the raid?
Yeah, Mike.
Ice raid. What are your thoughts?
Man, this is crazy. Looks like his partner got maced or something. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's our country, folks. Yeah, that's our country. What's going on right now? But again, that is such a small percentage of our country. It's not even funny. Like this is this is from Nick Sorter. Both of those are from Nick Sorter. This was 10 hours ago, but it was they were trapped in this building for hours. Looks like a parking garage.
Stand with us. Stand after World War II. Stand with us. Stand with New Yorkers. Don't stand with the thugs. Stand with New Yorkers. Stand with New Yorkers. Stand with the Stand with
You know, if it weren't for the liberal women of this country and the men whose balls are in a hermetically sealed jar in the woman's sock drawer, doing whatever they're told and trying to impress, a liberal woman by being so progressive and so accepting of, men, dressing in women's locker rooms and, powerlifting against women and playing sports against women. And, the abortion is a right versus a state law, which is the proper finding of the courts when you realize that anything not mentioned specifically in the Constitution reverts to the states. That's the 10th Amendment. So, so if it weren't for liberal women, we wouldn't have a fucking problem. But they attack them with a velvet hammer of something that will stoke their compassion, because women are generally more compassionate than men because they birth life and they are much more protecting. Like when I used to raise money for companies and work boiler rooms, and the word was, and you'd get a list, you don't pitch women because they're too they're too focused on protecting their home and their people. They don't take the risks that men do. Now, this is a generalization, of course, but when you're doing numbers and you're dealing with numbers, you have to go with generalizations. You don't pitch accountants, you don't pitch lawyers, because they're too left brain. They don't see the big picture. They're trained to find problems. So they're going to find a problem with whatever investment you pitch them. Okay. So this is a big problem in our country right now. And that will be clearer once Tulsi, she's been very busy, by the way. Once Tulsi comes out with the proof that the CIA, and I think all these things that are pointing towards the CIA are coming to light, and we're soon going to start to look at CIA like we looked at the once legacy media, with disdain, and especially when we realize that they've been controlling the mainstream media. So this is all coming to light. The government getting in the way is such a huge thing, and the people that are allowing the government to continue to get in the way, right? This is yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some things that I was looking at earlier, just not gonna necessarily bring up right now, but yeah. So let me get to your chat, folks. Let me see what's happening. Those kind of guys sit down while peeing, Dave. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Portland's a shithole. Thank you, Chingle. Appreciate that. Yeah, the beta males, they're a problem. Yep. Let's see. Betty, you live in this mess and try not to go out. Video is true. Was that the New York one, Betty? You're in New York. Yeah, we have beta males and aggressive women, Kim. That's absolutely true. Yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable. General Flynn has been hammering on CIA last few days extra loud. That's true. That's true, Billy. And also, the thing about Flynn is that when I hear him talk, I don't feel like he's dialed in with POTUS. That's just the feeling I get. Like there aren't a lot of things that Flynn says, with the exception of, like, you know, saying a satanic prayer, or really coming down on Anons and Q. Like, you know, instead of not saying like, oh, I don't know anything about them, or I'm not involved with them, or whatever, just actually, you know, going after them, is that I don't feel like he's read in with Trump. I just feel like he's on the outside looking in. A good majority of those beta males come from single parent families. That's interesting. I haven't really done the math on that, but, you know, without a strong father in the home, that's a problem. Yeah. So, folks, this week, I mean, it's just been, you know, really quite exceptional, and without question, and by the way, with this seditious six, the former astronaut Senator Mark Kelly is here we go. Started a spy balloon company funded by China. Remember those Chinese spy balloons? And this story is deeper than we think it is, without question. That was Buzz Patterson posted that. Thank you, Buzz. This is an election worker in Michigan. The election is coming to surface more.
We were there doing that day is we weren't allowed to touch anything. We weren't allowed to be a part of any of the ballots. What they were doing is they were bringing the ballot bags from the individual precincts to the tables. And all I was there was as a citizen observing to make sure that the city clerks that they brought in from all across the county were doing their job properly.
I see.
And basically all we were doing was removing the ballots from the bag, counting the number of ballots in the bag, and then sending them right back through the voting machines. And I think Stephanie can elaborate on this, but I believe in Oakland County, they use heart voting machines. And so what we were doing was just counting through the ballots, saying, okay, this one has, for instance, 475. Are there 475 pieces of paper in that bag, yes or no? If the answer is yes, then we take them and we send them through the ballot machine, and then the ballot machine tells us what the result was. And so the first issue that I had was the first bag that came to my table. They walked it over, and on those ballot bags, they have a tamper-proof evidence seal. And what I noticed on the first bag is that the tamper-proof evidence seal was changed twice. And I immediately raised my hand like, okay, this is an issue. Something's going on here. And I brought it to the attention of Joe Rozelle. I brought it to the attention of one of the county commissioners, actually happened to be the lady that was at my table bringing the bag to me. I brought it to everybody's attention, and I just got told, literally, I was told that it doesn't matter for the purposes of the recount. And my perspective on that is...
I got to ask a question about this. You were...
Go ahead.
I don't want you to elaborate anymore, but I'm so lost here. You were told that it doesn't matter? There's a purpose for the seal. It's a chain of custody seal, and you were told that it doesn't matter. That's what you said?
100%. And wow. I actually have that on video as well.
Oh, wow.
So I think we're going to see a lot more of this come out. And I think that's going to be, again, we've been waiting for a long time for a lot of this, and it has really been a lesson in patience that we all have to learn as humans in general. Like, things aren't happening the way I wish they were happening. I'm having to practice a lot of patience right now, financially, and it's not easy. So it's not easy to wait for justice to come, and that's what we're having to do. I wanted to thank Catherine Drexler for your $10 donation. DOT Truck Sales, Farad, thank you, $17. Karen Billick, 10. Julie Fackler, 50. Thank you, Julie. Patsy Abbott, 20. Linda Prasnick, 25. Thank you very much for your donations. Also, I wanted to thank Helen Overton for your $150 donation the other day. Deborah Short, for your $5 donation. And let's see, I've got a few more. Phil Dans, thank you, brother, for your 17. Lisa Grays, your 20. Bo Hunter, your $5. Thank you very much. And for $17 donation, William McDavid, thank you very, very much. It looked like there might have been a problem with that. So, and then Bridget Graham, thank you, $50 donation. Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate you, Dave. Appreciate you, Bridget. Thank you so much. And that's it for the evening, and so much appreciated from you all. And again, folks, when you give, that means that people that are struggling don't have to, and that's why I've always given this away for free. And with that comes some sacrifice, but with your help, that sacrifice is softer and less ragged and jagged. So thank you very, very much. My friends, been on 2 hours. That's pretty much it for the show. I'm going to share this post by Digital Soldier that did it on September 1st. And I just shared that on X. You can also find that on Snedheads. Please head on over to Snedheads, interact with folks after the show. And you can see that post I just dropped when it comes up on my feed. And I appreciate you being here and hanging out on a Saturday night. We're wrapping things up on this Saturday night with a, let me see, number 3 behind JLR and Alex Jones on X. So thank you for making us number 3 on X. And your support is greatly appreciated. And if you share this out, I just ask you to maybe tag somebody that you think needs to see it. It might be a big influencer who's not a Q person. It might be, somebody that you're trying to get across to in your family or, what have you. And also maybe why. Like, give the why. Like, hey, I'm sharing this with you because I've been following this guy and he's got a really clear, picture of what's happening, and you can believe him or not, but he'll say the same thing. This is his take on all this, and here's why. We got Q, we got Trump, we've got the mainstream media that, just remember, anybody right now that's still against Trump and Q is yelling from the same dugout as the mainstream media, Hollywood, the music industry, anti-Israel crowd, okay, they're all a part of the same dugout. They're like cheering for the same shit, and they're trying to discredit, MAGA, Trump, America First, and Q, just like the mainstream media has. And the mainstream media hasn't gone after anybody in the history of this earth like they have gone after Trump and Q. So oftentimes, folks, you got to ask yourself, who are my enemies rooting against? And ask yourself why you are too, if you are. So, my friends, thanks for being here, and folks, if you want to open up, if you're interested in crypto, okay, my only recommendation is to learn as much as you can about it, and once you learn about it, if you feel like you want to invest in it, there's a Kraken. You can there's a company called Kraken, and it's a wallet, and it's where you can buy and sell. And I recently got a Kraken wallet because I wanted to buy SHX. SHX is one of the cryptos that you can still get for like less than a penny. I'm not even sure where it's at right now. But Kraken is the only platform that you can buy it on. And so I highly recommend you all try that. And Moonbeam, if you could put that in the chat, that link, because I can't take this link off of here. But if you could put that in the chat, well, you just did. Yeah. What am I trying to say here? But at any rate, you can, if you go on and you decide you want to get a crypto for $200, whether it be XRP or SHX or, Bitcoin, whatever, and you buy something for $200, they'll give you $75, and they'll give me $75. So it's free money. If you want free 75, go on, do what it asks you to do, like a $200 investment or whatever. You can sell it back, return, get cash, and you got $75. So, so at any rate, I just wanted to put that out there, and yeah. So, that's it. I don't get anything for how much you invest or anything like that. This is just like a referral code, right? Like if I was, and I recommend Kraken because they're very security conscious, and there are some things you can buy you can't buy on other platforms. So just copy that down and link to it if you would like to check into that further. All right, my friends. Yeah, again, what a week. Yeah, we saw this. Thank you for the breaking news. We covered that. So I appreciate that. So my friends, yeah, and then Bo Hunter says XRP, HBAR, Stellar. Yeah, some really good stuff. And again, folks, just do your homework. Like, maybe ask AI, maybe look at some articles and things. Just do your homework, because everyone has their favorites and everyone has, but look for, just in any investment you do, first of all, ask yourself, can I do without this 200, 500,000, whatever you're looking to invest? Make sure it's something that if you lost it, it wouldn't bankrupt you. That's just common sense for any investment, certainly for crypto. This is more like if you have some money that you want to see if it works for you, and you looked into crypto, let me take a shot at this. Maybe this one will triple or maybe it'll quadruple, but you got to be ready for it to not, benefit you at all. And that's why you know, an investment in something like that. And I don't recommend, you know, strategies or anything like that. It's just like, you know, keep an eye out, see what looks good for you. All right, my friends. So listen, I'll see you Monday. And we'll see, you know, see what's going on. But I anticipate a very, very interesting week coming. And we had a hell of a one last week as well. All right, my friends, much love to you, and God bless those in harm's way, which Q has mentioned, and you know, that amazing woman who was the National Guard member, and the man who was shot, Sarah Beckstrom. I had to look her up because I haven't been dialed into that, but it's I think, you know, they're also talking about the CIA, you know, through all this, and that's coming to head. And one of the reporters even asked Trump, "What about the CIA connection?" He said he lost his mind, and to me, that points to MK Ultra. So. Good night, my friends. And by the way, another happy birthday message out to Polar Bear Paws. And then, of course, here we are close to midnight. And Kathy Reeves, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kathy. Have a good one Sunday, which is going to be amazing for you, amazing for us. And each day of your new year is going to, I believe, bring more and more awareness, transparency, accountability, and justice. Good night, my friends. Much love to you. I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.